Hello everybody, I'm Joel Friesen with Silver Arrow Cars, and I don't know why I'm yelling. We are here with a very cool car. This is a really well done and great example of a hot rod 911, but done in a way that is very drivable and that is still a ton of fun and begs to be used a lot. So what is it? This is a 1981 California-born Porsche 911 SC with its 3-liter flat 6, heavily modified 3-liter flat 6, and its 915 5-speed gearbox. This has been glass out repainted in Pacific Blue Metallic as you see it sitting here today. It comes complete with its original owner's manual and warranty book. In here you will see all the stamps, which is very cool to see. You'll see the original dealer stamp and sign off from the day it was sold, May 21st, 1981. We're approaching that. We're approaching its 44th birthday. Sold new from Martin Johnson Porsche Audi in Oakland, California. And then through the book and through these pages, you see all the stamps starting at 397 miles, and then documenting the miles and the services all the way along 1, 2, 3, 4 pages of entries that comes with the car. So let's talk about the car's history a little bit. The car had lived in Seattle, Washington, or the Washington area for a number of years before it was brought up into Canada in about 2015. 2015 was when a lot of what you see here today was done. Previous to that, in about 2012, is when the engine was rebuilt. So the engine was completely torn down, and we've got photos of that process. Completely torn down and started fresh with a refreshed block, pistons, and all the rest. You'll see all the photos of that. So that's about 2012 when that work was done. Then the car, somewhere in between there and 2016, that is when the car was glass out repainted in the Pacific Blue Metallic that you see it sitting here in today. And then in around 2015, 2016, also the individual throttle body X-Factory EFI, so fuel injection and engine management, the Rassant engine management system was all installed, so a completely electronic engine management and electronic fuel injection was installed with those individual throttle bodies. All the suspension has been done. All of that was upgraded. In and around 2012 also, I believe, by John Walker in the Washington State also rebuilt the transmission. You'll see some of that referenced in the previous auction. So essentially, in and around the 20-teens, a lot of the base car was upgraded. And then later on, the engine management system, the electronic fuel injection was added, along with a new interior. The interior was done in Michigan. So an all custom leather interior with Recaro seats was done. So you'll see that with the custom leather door cards with the RS style poles, prototypo steering wheel, the carpets, package tray. The stereo system was upgraded to a Bluetooth streaming stereo system. Anyway, so all of that work was then done. And then since then, under the last owner's stewardship, then the car was further upgraded. So to step back a moment, you go back into that previous ownership coming out of Seattle and then coming into Vancouver. The car is repainted, glass out repaint, everything was done. You'll see in the last auction, it had quite a different aesthetic to it. It had a high polished BBS wheel, basket weave style BBS wheel on it. All of the window trim was actually polished or chrome style trim on all the windows throughout the car. The door handles, the mirrors, everything was chrome. And so the owner that's had it for the last couple of years very talented engineer, decided to undertake doing some of this stuff himself and then some of it with a shop, and wanted to give it his own look. So at that point, the BBS wheels were then removed. The brakes were upgraded to 996 brakes, so 996 calipers front and rear, adapter kits installed, 996 rear rotors, and then a three-piece rotor in the front. The 17-inch Fuchs style wheels were then added with these, the new Michelin 4S's to give it a different stance and a different look. He also sourced an OEM Porsche rear deck lid. So the car has two deck lids. It has the ducktail deck lid, and then it has a smooth style deck lid, both with powder coated black rear grills on it. The audio system was turned into a pure analog Bluetooth system, so digital/analog. There's no display, it's just Bluetooth streaming with control knobs on the dash, which gives it a very kind of cool period look to it. And then big undertaking was, as I said, all the window trim was then removed and new satin black trim was then replaced. The rear quarter windows, the rear window, and the front are all brand new OEM Porsche window trim, as was the door trim. However, being that satin was no longer available, new trim was purchased and then it was refinished in satin black to match the rest of it. So that in itself, I believe, was in and around a $10,000 cost. I don't remember exactly, and we'll have that in our listing. But so that was done. Some modern looking LED headlights were previously in the car, so that was switched out for these more traditional style H4 or these traditional style lenses with an LED bulb inside. The car previously had the sunroof deleted and a welded in delete panel was put into the roof when the car was repainted. It had a little bit of bubbling to it, so that was refinished under our previous ownership. A previous owner had mounted and drilled holes in the hood, so that was refinished and the hood was refinished. So a lot of time and a lot of effort and money has gone into the car since the previous auction to, in my opinion, raise the aesthetic level and give it more of a current and a current style to a hot rod 911. Now to touch on, I believe I did already, but to touch on the engine compartment, you will see that through some of this B-roll right now. But the engine compartment is gorgeous. And a lot of this work was done by a fellow named Al in Washington, very well known for his work on Porsche and air-cooled Porsche. It's beautiful. So from 2012 to 2016, first in 2012, engine was removed and completely torn down, and then completely rebuilt with all new components. So that is a 2012-ish. And then, so engine was built. There's lots of photos of that. And then in 2016 was further modified and modernized by adding the PMO individual throttle bodies, which are gorgeous. And then at the same time, the electronic fuel injection, and then the Ressant engine management system, which is phenomenal. Having a new modern fuel injection and engine management system on an old air-cooled is a very welcome addition, and the car benefits greatly from it and how it runs. So a lot of that is also going to be in our listing, and you will see the torn down engine, the engine going back into the car, pictures of the block and the heads and the cylinders and the pistons and the valves, everything was done. So total mileage from that, I don't have the exact mileage, but it's somewhere around 8,000 miles since that 8,000, 10,000 miles since that engine rebuild was done, and then probably only about 5,000, 6,000 miles since the electronic systems were then installed on the car. But excellently done and executed. The car sounds fantastic, it runs phenomenally, and this engine compartment is gorgeous. It's tons better than I think you see on a lot of the higher valued, say 3.2s and so on. Also, under previous ownership, it was stated that the 915 transmission was rebuilt by John Walker in Washington State. I've seen that name many times, never dealt with him personally, have spoken to him on the phone. Very nice gentleman and very well known and renowned for his work on Porsche transmissions and Porsche in general in Washington State. So transmission done, engine done, all the suspension was upgraded to, and I'm not gonna remember all of the things, but quick change, plates, Bilsteins, a lot of Elephant Racing parts. I'm not gonna remember them all, so you'll have to look at into the listing itself, but a lot of suspension work done. Everything's been done on the car front to back and with an amazing aesthetic. So we have lots of documents, we have lots of pages, lots of receipts, essentially a really, really well documented car with evidence of all the work that's being stated was completed and with some great upgrades under previous ownership. So I think that sums it up. I don't want to make this a super long-winded video. The real point of this video is to give you context of the car and show you really what it looks like, what it sounds like. We'll be doing a driving video as well, but to give you a really good feeling and understanding of the car. So without further ado, I'm now going to jump into walking around the car and showing you the car, talking about its exterior and interior condition, and then we'll sum it up. So let's start up front, talking about condition and paint condition and just exterior condition of the car. As I said, these H4 reflector style headlights, these were replaced under the most current ownership. So those are basically as new. The bezels were repainted at the same time as the hood was repainted recently, as well as the bumper. So there's no blemishes, chips, scratches to mention on the bumper or the hood. And with that said, neither with the fronts of the fenders as well. So extremely, extremely high gloss, no scratches. Just presents excellent across the whole front end of the car. Emblem is in great shape. It's not like new, it does have a slight bit of patina to it, but nevertheless, it looks great. Through the paint on the bumper and the hood, there is the odd small, what you might call a paint imperfection or a dimple, but quite minor. So let's move around to the side here. The wheels, again, these are like brand new. Tires, like brand new. So perfection across there. Down the side of the car, I've got no dents. I've got no chips along the door itself to point out. The decals are like new, so they're basically perfect. And then as we get into the back of the car, small chip here that's been touched up. And then again, we've got like new wheels, basically like new tires. Rear quarter panel, I've got nothing to point out. Of course, the window trim is essentially, all the window trim is like new, so there's no fading, there's no blemishes. Same goes with the grille on the spare ducktail and the paint on the ducktail itself. Coming around the back of the car, same thing. Rear bumper, small little mark here, kind of above the exhaust. And that's really it. The rear deck lid, that was freshly repainted not too long ago. So paint is perfect on that. Same with the grille across the black, it's black across the back. And then rear quarter panel, rear wheel. Yeah, really, really good condition. paint throughout. It is as glossy as it looks in person. Of course, in preparation for sale, we did do a paint correction on it and fresh wax. Just a really, really clean, refreshed and custom 911 SC on the exterior. This engine compartment just makes me very happy. It is so tidy. Okay, so going from there, we're gonna go to the interior. So this interior was all redone. The car was sent to the shop in Michigan, and the entire car was, and then everything was done. So door sills, door cards, dash, steering wheel, lower dash, the Recaro seats, the carpet kit, sound deadening underneath the carpet kit, shift boot, shift knob, all of it. Additionally, so essentially brand new interior, still smells like leather, does not smell like an old car, smells like a fresh custom leather interior. It's got Focal speakers in the rear and in the doors and sounds fantastic. It's got a Bluetooth, very cool and retro feeling analog system that streams your music. Your dials are on the dash for controlling volume. The gauges were reconditioned by Palo Alto Speedometer, very well known for their work on refreshing dials and instruments. So that was all redone. All the switches and controls work on the car. Probably smart to mention, there is no AC, that was deleted, but it does have heat and vents. The door cards being leather door cards with RS style pulls on both sides. The Recaro seats are extremely comfortable, very well suited for the car. They are reclining and folding seats. And then new headliner was done as well. As I previously mentioned, it has a sunroof delete panel that was welded in when all the bodywork and the paint was done. There's photos of that in the gallery. And so a new headliner was done at the time. And one of the reasons for that was that the previous owner was pretty tall and wanted to have extra headroom, which is a big reason why there's a lot of people searching for G-body 911s that are sunroof delete, not only because slick tops are pretty highly desirable, but also for those extra couple inches of headroom inside the car. Steering wheel feels great in your hands, leather wrapped, contrast stitching, but just a very, very well sorted car with a fresh feel to it. All right, we'll just do a quick startup. So key on, let the fuel pump build pressure. Make sure we're in neutral. Temperature's at 0, essentially. Clock's working, oil pressure's working. Let's let it idle for a minute here. And we'll be back in just a second here. I'm gonna let it warm up. All right, so we've let the car warm up. Temperature's rising. I'm just gonna give it a couple more throttle blips. Sounds pretty good. Okay, so I'm just gonna show you how the audio system works, which is extremely simple. Essentially, turn on the car, turn on the stereo, turn on your Bluetooth, and then search for it. It's called Foci Audio. And essentially you connect, and then once you're connected, I just play on my phone, turn the volume up on my phone, and so you've got treble, bass, and volume on the dash here.
Always counting my beers, and she's cutting me off.
And it's as simple as that. essentially everything's done and ready for you in the interior. So let's get into the front hood. All right, so popping the front hood. Unlike many 911s, the hood shocks are not dead. You'll see the cross brace here between the strut towers. This is pretty fresh, new carpet inside the engine compartment. So let's pull this back a little bit. Here we will expose that VIN plate, which I'm gonna say it out loud so we all know. Whiskey Papa 0 Zulu 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 91 Zulu Bravo Sierra 120349. That is correct. Nice and tidy here in the engine compartment. We do have our tool roll there. We do have our jack. We got our space saver spare. Underside of the hood, same thing. Looks nice and tidy. You can see some of the repairs here that were done from those holes that were previously drilled for some Cibi driving lights. Those were repaired on that hood. And just a nice, tidy, great example car with that VIN plate, of course, that does match. And here is that spare deck lid. It is in fantastic condition as well, with the powder-coated black grille. You'll see the decals here, 911 SC on the back. We'll include some photos from the previous auction where this was mounted to the car. I personally like it without, but I think that probably changes for everybody. But anyway, this is, I believe, an EB Motorsports rear deck lid, composite material, and is in fantastic condition, and this comes with the car as well. I think lastly, important to mention, please look at the undersides of the car, a very clean and corrosion-free underside. To the belly of this beautiful 911 SC. So you'll see both in and around a nice dry engine, which is great to see that, you know, I think we're approaching, well, we're probably more like 12 years maybe since the first engine out was done, before the electronic fuel management such was done to the engine, but nice and dry underneath. You'll see that custom exhaust, and then the rest of the tub and the front end, very corrosion free and very tidy. This is not something that we have dry iced cleaned. This is just as you see it and as it's presented, without any specific detail work to the underside. So just a really well kept and well survived car. So let's recap. This is a California born, a US born, 1981 911 SC. It is painted in Pacific Blue Metallic, and essentially everything's been done on the car. The odometer was left when the car, between 2012 and 2016, was essentially restored, modified, rebuilt. Everything, engine, transmission, suspension, interior, exterior, wheels, brakes, bumpers. Have I missed anything? Every possible thing on the car, other than the tub, has been restored, rebuilt, or refinished and modified and improved. So very well modified, very well driving, and we're gonna get into a driving video, so please find that, but just a very well done car. This is a good friend, a trusted friend, an engineer's car, and he's done well with it, and the previous owner as well, from years ago in Vancouver, did a great job. So it's had some great owners, it's got great history, it has no accident history, it's got its original owner's manuals with stamps all the way along, probably up until about 185,000 miles, which is fantastic. You'll see mileage increments in that accident-free Carfax report as well. There's tons of photos of the engine being rebuilt, the fuel management, electronic, the new throttle bodies and the electronic fuel injection and engine management system being installed. That's all documented. There's photos of the window out respray, that's documented. It's just a very well done car, and it's great that it has all that history along with it. So what are you getting? A pretty fresh, restored hot rod 911 SC. And importantly, and I didn't mention this before, the car was dynoed in Vancouver. It dynoed at 191 rear wheel horsepower and I think 169 foot-pounds of torque, which is phenomenal for the 3-liter. That 3-liter, of course, had 964 cams, special grind cams, pistons, all the rest. So that's in there as well. So a tip-to-tail done car, completed in and around 10 years ago. And then in the last couple of years, a lot of upgrades as well. Wheels, tires, 996 brakes, Porsche satin black window trim, new rear deck lid, Bluetooth sound system, all the rest. So a lot of value here, a lot of money spent, and a great opportunity for you to put this in your garage and have a great driving G-Body 911. So please reach out if you have any questions. I'm Joel, we are Silver Arrow Cars, and we're happy to help any way we can. So thank you very much.